Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of Lunar Base Alpha, her reflection ghosting against the reinforced transparent aluminum as she watched Earth rotate slowly below. The base's official designation was International Lunar Research Station. That's what the public knew. What the public didn't know was that beneath the scientific facilities lay humanity's first line of defense. "Admiral, we have confirmation," Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice came through her neural interface. "The Dominion fleet has crossed the Kuiper Belt." Chen didn't turn from the viewport. For 15 years, humanity had known this day would come. Since the first quantum telescope array detected the Dominion's expansion through the galaxy, systematically absorbing or destroying every civilization in their path, Earth had prepared in silence. "Status of Operation Darkness," she asked, though she already knew the answer. She'd helped design the protocols herself. "All civilian satellites are powered down as scheduled. Decoy facilities are operating at full capacity. Surface military installations have initiated camouflage protocols. Deep space sensors confirm the Dominion fleet is reading exactly what we want them to see, a pre-FTL civilization with primitive space capabilities." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Dominion, like most advanced civilizations they'd observed, had a fatal flaw: arrogance. They conquered so many worlds, they'd stopped looking for surprises. That would be their undoing. "Status of the Ghost Fleet," she asked, finally turning from the viewport. The command center hummed with quiet efficiency, holographic displays showing real-time data from across the solar system. "All ships maintain position in the dark side of Jupiter's magnetic field. No detection signatures, the Titan facilities are running silent, and Mars Base reports all quantum shields are functioning at optimal levels." For decades, humanity had maintained a carefully crafted facade. While officially celebrating small steps like the first Mars colony, they had secretly been building something far more impressive. The public space program was a theater, a carefully choreographed show for any watching eyes. The real progress happened in the shadows. Quantum computing, dark matter drives, gravitational weapons, all developed in secret facilities buried deep within moons and asteroids. Every major nation had played their part, setting aside old rivalries in the face of an existential threat. "Time until first contact," Chen asked, bringing up a tactical display with a gesture. "Dominion scout ships will reach Earth orbit in approximately 72 hours. Their main fleet remains at the edge of the system, consistent with their standard conquest protocols." Chen nodded. They had studied the Dominion's tactics extensively through long-range observation. The pattern never varied: send scouts, demand submission, and then either accept a new vassal state or crush any resistance with overwhelming force. "Begin Phase 2, she ordered, "and inform the Security Council that I'll be attending the emergency session in person." As Chen headed for the transport tube that would take her to Earth, she thought about the message they'd prepare for the Dominion. It was short, simple, and absolutely true. "We are not what we seem. You should run." The Dominion wouldn't run, of course. They never did. Their empire spanned thousands of worlds, and they hadn't faced a serious military challenge in centuries. They would see Earth as just another primitive world to add to their collection. They didn't understand that humanity had spent its entire history preparing for this moment. Every war, every conflict, every arms race had honed their species into something unique in the galaxy, a civilization that had mastered the art of warfare before reaching the stars. As her transport pod accelerated through the vacuum tube toward Earth, Chen reviewed the latest intelligence. The Dominion fleet was exactly where they predicted it would be, following their standard tactical doctrine to the letter. They had no idea that humans had already mapped their entire command structure, analyzed their weapons capabilities, and identified their technological weaknesses. The public would learn the truth soon enough. The carefully maintained illusion of slowly developing space program would be shattered. But Chen knew they would adapt, just as humanity always had. And perhaps, just perhaps, the Dominion would learn what so many human adversaries had learned throughout history: The most dangerous predator is the one that looks like prey. The transport pod slowed as it approached Earth, and Chen prepared herself for the coming days. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn why humanity had chosen to hide its true nature for so long. Not out of fear, but out of mercy. Let them come, she whispered to herself. Let them come and learn. Dr. Kai Patel stood in the heart of Project Oracle, deep beneath the Mariana Trench. The quantum computer complex stretched for kilometers through the ocean floor, its crystalline processors cooled by the crushing depths above. This was humanity's greatest secret, an AI system that had helped design their hidden defenses. The Dominion scout ships have entered lunar orbit, the Oracle's interface announced, its holographic avatar shimmering in the dark chamber. Their scan patterns match all previous encounters. They believe they are observing a pre-FTL civilization. Kai watched as the vast display wall showed real-time data from the scout ships. The Dominion's arrogance was almost amusing. Their encryption was advanced, yes, but nothing compared to what Oracle had developed. Every transmission, every scan, every command was being intercepted and analyzed. Show me their reaction to our defensive screen, Kai ordered. The display shifted, showing the Dominion scouts' sensor data. Where they expected to find primitive satellites and basic orbital platforms, they instead saw nothing. Hours earlier, Earth had activated its quantum stealth systems, making their true defensive capabilities invisible to conventional scans. They are confused, Oracle reported. Their tactical doctrine has no protocol for a civilization at this development stage, hiding their orbital assets. They are attempting to reconcile this anomaly with their existing data. Kai smiled. The Dominion's rigid thinking was their greatest weakness. Like many ancient empires, they had become slaves to their own protocols and procedures. They couldn't conceive of a species that would deliberately appear weaker than they were. Status of Phase 3 preparations, he asked, bringing up the tactical overlay. All quantum fold generators are charged and ready. The Jupiter array is aligned. Ghost Fleet maintains position and stealth protocols. Oracle's avatar shifted, showing a complete strategic overview of the solar system. The Dominion main fleet has begun their standard deployment pattern at the system's edge. They remain unaware of our gravimetric sensors in the Kuiper Belt. Humanity's true fleet was a marvel of engineering that would have seemed like magic to the public just decades ago. Ships powered by dark matter drives, armed with weapons that manipulated the fundamental forces of the universe. All hidden in plain sight, while their civilian space program played out its carefully crafted role. Their ambassador ship is preparing to launch, Oracle announced. Standard diplomatic protocol before conquest. Would you like to review their historical success rate? No need, Kai replied. We've studied every encounter they've had for the past century. They've never failed to either subjugate or destroy a civilization at our apparent development level. But then again, he smiled. They've never met humans before. A subtle vibration ran through the facility as power began diverting to the quantum defense grid. Above, invisible to both the public and the Dominion, Earth's true orbital defenses hummed to life. Weapon platforms disguised as debris, swarms of nanosatellites hiding in the planet's magnetic field, and the massive generators that could turn Earth's ionosphere into a weapon, all waiting for the signal. Dr. Patel, his neural link chimed. The Security Council is requesting your presence for the final briefing. Admiral Chen has arrived from Lunar Base. On my way, he responded. Oracle, continue monitoring the Dominion fleet. Alert me to any deviations from their standard conquest protocols. As Kai headed for the transport tube, he thought about the decades of preparation that had led to this moment. While the world watched SpaceX launches and celebrated Mars rovers, the real work had happened in places like this. Every nation had contributed its best minds, its resources, its technology, all in secret, all in preparation for this day. The Dominion was about to learn a harsh lesson about humanity. They weren't just another primitive species to be conquered. They were the descendants of warriors, inventors, and survivors. They had spent their entire history fighting, innovating, and preparing for threats exactly like this. In the command center above, Admiral Chen would be finalizing the defense plans. The Dominion would follow their usual pattern, a show of force, demands for submission, and then either acceptance of surrender or immediate attack. They had no idea that humans had spent years studying and countering every aspect of their tactical doctrine. Oracle, Kai called out before entering the transport tube. Initiate final countdown protocols. It's time to show them what humanity has been hiding. The A's response was immediate. Final countdown initiated. All systems preparing for reveal. May whatever gods the Dominion believes in have mercy on their souls, because humanity won't. The transport pod accelerated upward, carrying Kai toward the final briefing that would set humanity's trap in motion. Soon, very soon, the Dominion would learn why Earth's response to their arrival had been so calm, so measured, so confident. They weren't looking at prey. They were staring into the eyes of a predator that had chosen the perfect moment to strike. High Commander Vex Tal of the Dominion Expansion Fleet stood on the bridge of the Imperial flagship, Eternal Dominance, his scaled skin reflecting the holographic displays surrounding him. Something about this primitive world called Earth wasn't sitting right, but he couldn't quite place what. Report from the diplomatic vessel, his second-in-command, Subcommander Zorath, announced. The humans have agreed to receive our ambassador. Their response was unusually calm. Vextal's inner eyelids flickered, a sign of unease in his species. In thousands of conquests, primitive species always reacted the same way to first contact: panic, chaos, desperate attempts at unity. But these humans, they were too organized, too composed. Show me that orbital defense grid again, he ordered. The holographic display shifted, showing Earth's orbit. Where there should have been primitive satellites and basic defensive platforms, there was nothing. Just debris and a few basic communication satellites. They've hidden their defenses, he mused. But how? Their technology level shouldn't allow for. His words were cut off by a priority alert. The ship's quantum sensors had detected an anomaly, a massive energy spike from Jupiter's orbit, gone as quickly as it appeared. Sensor malfunction, he asked. Unknown, High Commander, Zorath replied. But our scout ships report similar anomalies throughout the system. Brief energy signatures that don't match any known technology pattern. On Earth, in the depths of the Himalayan command center, General Zhang Wei watched the Dominion fleet's confusion with satisfaction. Beside him, Admiral Chen and Dr. Patel monitored the elaborate deception playing out across the solar system. They're detecting the edges of our quantum shield network, Patel explained. The technology is so far beyond their understanding that their sensors can't properly process it. Like ancient humans trying to understand radio waves. Zhang nodded. And Operation Ghost? The fleet remains undetected, Chen replied. Our dark matter drives leave no signature their sensors can detect. As far as they know, they're alone out there by Jupiter. They have no idea they're surrounded. The massive display showed humanity's true capabilities. Hundreds of advanced warships hidden in quantum fields, weapon platforms disguised as asteroids, and the massive Jupiter array, a weapon that could harness the gas giant's magnetic field itself. The Dominion ambassador's shuttle is approaching, an AI voice announced. Estimated arrival at the UN Special Council in 20 minutes. Time to give them their last chance to leave peacefully, Zhang said, though we all know they won't take it. In high orbit, the Dominion diplomatic shuttle descended toward Earth. Ambassador Krelovon reviewed the standard conquest protocols one final time. It was always the same. Demonstrate overwhelming force, offer the chance to submit, then either accept their surrender or begin the conquest. The shuttle landed at the specially prepared facility in Geneva. Krelovon emerged, expecting to see fear and awe on the faces of the primitive humans. Instead, he found himself facing a small delegation of calm, almost amused-looking representatives. Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. A human female stepped forward. I'm Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's chief negotiator. Before we begin, we have a message for your empire." She handed him a small device, primitive by Dominion standards, or so it seemed. As soon as he touched it, his neural implants detected something impossible: quantum encryption that surpassed even the Dominion's most advanced systems. The message was simple: "We know everything about you. We've studied every conquest, every tactic, every weakness. This is your final warning. Leave our system or face the consequences. We are not what we appear to be." Back on a flagship, Vextal received the report from his increasingly uneasy ambassador. "High Commander," Krelvon's voice carried an unfamiliar edge of concern. "These humans, they're hiding something big. Our psychological profiles of primitive species, they don't match. These humans aren't afraid. They're waiting." "Waiting for what?" Vextal demanded. As it can answer, every sensor on his ship suddenly screamed to life. The debris field around Earth was transforming. What looked like random space junk was revealing itself as advanced weapon platforms. The apparently primitive satellites were shedding their disguises, showing true forms that defied Dominion understanding. And then, most terrifying of all, the space around Jupiter shifted. Hundreds of warships simply appeared, their designs unlike anything the Dominion had ever encountered. They had been there all along, watching, waiting. "Impossible," Vextal whispered. "They're supposed to be primitive. They've barely reached their moon. Our intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to see." A new voice cut through their communications. Admiral Chen's image appeared on their screens. "For decades, we let you think we were just another primitive species. We learned your tactics, your technology, your weaknesses. And now, High Commander, you face a choice: leave, or learn why humans spent so long hiding their true nature." The Dominion fleet hung in space, facing a force they never imagined could exist. And in that moment, Vextal realized his empire had made a terrible, terrible mistake. They hadn't found another primitive species to conquer. They had awakened a sleeping giant. High Commander Vextal's mandibles clicked in agitation as he watched the impossible unfold. The human's deception was so complete, so masterfully executed, that even now his tactical computers were struggling to process what they were seeing. "Status report," he barked, his composure cracking for the first time in decades of military service. "High Commander," Zaruf's voice trembled slightly. "We're detecting quantum field disruptions throughout the system. They're ships. They're using technology that shouldn't exist at their development stage. The energy readings are beyond our classification systems." In the Himalayan command center, Admiral Chen watched the Dominion fleet's confusion with grim satisfaction. "Execute Phase 4, she ordered. "Show them exactly what humanity has been working on while they weren't looking." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden arsenals sprang to life. The Jupiter Array, a massive network of quantum field generators built into the gas giant's Trojan asteroids, activated. The very fabric of space around the Dominion fleet began to warp and twist. Their supposedly advanced sensors, the pride of their empire, suddenly became useless. "They're attempting to raise their shields," Oracle reported through the command center's neural network. "Their technology is based on conventional energy fields. They have no defense against quantum-phase weapons." Dr. Patel's fingers danced across holographic controls, activating dark matter cascade. "Let's show them what real advanced technology looks like." From the hidden shipyards of Titan, a new wave of vessels emerged. Unlike the bulky, obvious warships of the Dominion, human vessels were sleek, almost organic in design. They moved in ways that defied conventional physics, powered by dark matter drives that left no trace in normal space. Message from the Dominion flagship, a communications officer announced. They're demanding our surrender." Chen actually laughed. "Send our response." On the Dominion flagship, Vextal received humanity's answer. It wasn't words. Instead, his tactical display lit up as hundreds of quantum torpedoes materialized inside his fleet's defense perimeter. They had bypassed the most advanced shields in the known galaxy as if they weren't even there. Impossible, he roared. No species at their level could have developed quantum phase technology. The energy requirements alone. That's your mistake. Admiral Chen's voice cut through their communications again. You assumed we were showing you everything. You never wondered why a species that had mastered nuclear fission a century ago was still using chemical rockets. The first wave of quantum torpedoes detonated, not with conventional explosions, but with precisely calculated quantum field disruptions. Dominion ships found their advanced systems shutting down, their weapons powerless, their engines dead. While you watched our primitive space program, Chen continued, we were studying you. Every conquest, every battle, every technology you used. We learned from your mistakes, found your weaknesses, and developed weapons specifically designed to counter your capabilities. The Ghost Fleet emerged from its quantum fields around Jupiter, revealing vessels that looked more like works of art than warships. But their beauty belied their deadly purpose. Each one carried weapons that the Dominion had never imagined possible. Last chance, High Commander. Chen's voice was cold now. Leave our system, or we will demonstrate exactly why humanity chose to hide its true nature for so long. In orbit around Earth, the Dominion diplomatic shuttle received new orders and immediate evacuation. Ambassador Krelvon had never seen such a command in all his years of service. The mighty Dominion, retreating from what should have been a simple conquest. But as he watched Earth's orbital defenses reveal themselves, he understood. The seemingly primitive satellites transformed into weapon platforms that defied understanding. The space debris resolved into a complex network of quantum field generators. Even Earth's atmosphere itself began to shimmer with strange energies. How long? He asked Dr. Rodriguez before boarding his shuttle. How long have you been preparing for this? She smiled, but it wasn't a friendly expression. Since the first time we looked up at the stars and asked ourselves, what if we're not alone? What if what we find out there isn't friendly? Every war, every conflict, every technological advance, it was all preparation for this moment. Back in the command center, Chen watched as the Dominion fleet attempted to regroup. Their formations, once perfect and intimidating, were now chaos. Their mighty weapons, designed to overwhelm primitive civilizations, were useless against quantum phase technology. They're preparing to retreat, Oracle announced. Their command structure is in disarray. They never developed protocols for this scenario. Of course they didn't, Patel said quietly. They never imagined that a primitive species would let them get this close on purpose. That we would spend decades appearing weak while building weapons specifically designed to counter their technology. The Ghost Fleet moved into attack formation, their dark matter drives allowing them to ignore conventional physics. They didn't need to overwhelm the Dominion fleet with superior numbers or firepower. They simply had to demonstrate that every assumption, every tactical doctrine, every technological advantage the Dominion relied on was useless. Send the final message, Chen ordered. Make sure every ship in their fleet receives it. Across the Dominion fleet, displays lit up with humanity's farewell. Run. Tell your empire what you found here. Tell them that Earth is not to be trifled with. We chose to appear weak. We chose to let you come this close. Remember that the next time you think about returning. The message ended with a demonstration, a single quantum torpedo detonating near their flagship, creating a localized disruption that turned their most advanced shields into useless light shows. The mighty Dominion expansion fleet, terror of 1,000 worlds, did something it had never done before. It fled. The Dominion fleet's retreat was not the end, but rather the beginning. High Commander Vextol, his pride wounded and his authority questioned, made exactly the mistake humanity had predicted. Within hours, he called for reinforcements. In the depths of Lunar Base Alpha, Admiral Chen watched the quantum sensor feeds with Dr. Patel and General Zhang. Right on schedule, she said. Oracle, begin Operation Checkmate. They still don't understand, Zhang observed, watching the massive Dominion reinforcement fleet emerge from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. They think this is about military might. They haven't realized this entire conflict was choreographed before they ever entered our system. The reinforcement fleet was massive. Thousands of ships, the pride of the Dominion's military might. Under normal circumstances, it would have been enough to conquer a dozen primitive worlds. But Earth was anything but normal. Their fleet composition matches our predictions exactly, Oracle reported. They've deployed their forces according to standard Dominion doctrine for overwhelming primitive resistance. Probability of them detecting the quantum net, 0.03%. Across the solar system, humanity's true defensive network activated. The quantum net, a vast web of interconnected fields and sensors, had been decades in the making. Every planet, every moon, every significant asteroid had been converted into a node in this vast defensive matrix. They're launching their first wave, Patel announced, exactly as their tactical doctrines dictate. Should we show them why that was a mistake? Chen nodded. Execute Operation Pandora. Throughout the solar system, invisible quantum fields suddenly synchronized. The space around the Dominion fleet began to change in ways their sensors couldn't comprehend. Their mighty warships, each capable of destroying an entire primitive civilization, found themselves trapped in a maze of spatial distortions. Their tactical doctrine is falling apart, Oracle reported with what almost sounded like satisfaction. They have no protocols for this type of spatial manipulation. In the command center, holographic displays showed the true scope of humanity's preparations. The Jupiter array wasn't just a weapon, it was part of a solar system-wide quantum engineering project. Every gas giant's magnetic field had been transformed into a component of Earth's defensive network. Signal from the Dominion flagship, a communications officer announced. They're demanding to know how we achieved this level of technology. Show them, Chen ordered. Across the Dominion fleet's communication systems, a carefully prepared presentation began to play. It showed humanity's true history, not the sanitized version they had allowed the galaxy to see, but the real story of a species that had been preparing for this moment since they first split the atom. The quantum technology that so confused the Dominion, developed in secret facilities throughout the asteroid belt, tested in artificial dimensions where mistakes couldn't be detected. The dark matter drives that powered the Ghost Fleet, created by an international consortium of scientists working in underground labs beneath Earth's oceans. Their second wave is attempting to regroup, Oracle reported. They're trying to adapt their tactics. Too late, Zhang said quietly. Activate the Lazarus Protocol. What happened next would be discussed in Dominion military academies for centuries, assuming the Empire survived this encounter. Every piece of debris in the solar system, every seemingly dead satellite, every abandoned probe suddenly came to life. Humanity's quantum technology had turned the very space around the Dominion fleet into a weapon. Message from the High Command, the communications officer announced. They're asking for terms. Chen's smile was cold. Tell them the terms are simple. The Dominion will never again enter this solar system. They will never again threaten a developing civilization. And they will carry this message to every empire and federation in the galaxy. Earth is not to be trifled with. On the Dominion flagship, Vextal watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by technology he couldn't even understand. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were conducting a demonstration, showing the galaxy's greatest military power exactly how outmatched they were. How? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. How did we not see this coming? The answer came from Dr. Rodriguez, her hologram appearing on his bridge. Because you forgot the most important lesson of human history. The most dangerous predator is the one that convinces its prey it's harmless. We spent centuries fighting among ourselves, perfecting the art of warfare. Did you really think we wouldn't be ready when we looked to the stars? The quantum net tightened, completely immobilizing the Dominion fleet. Earth's ghost fleet emerged from their quantum fields, surrounding the trapped Armada. But they didn't fire, didn't attack. They didn't need to. The demonstration was complete. "Your empire has conquered 1,000 worlds," Rodriguez continued. "But you've never faced a species that spent its entire history preparing for this moment. Every war we fought, every technology we developed, every scientific breakthrough we achieved, it was all leading to this day." In the Himalayan command center, Chen watched as the mighty Dominion fleet hung helpless in space, trapped by technology they couldn't comprehend. "Send the final message," she ordered. "Make sure every empire in the galaxy understands what happened here today." The message was brief but clear. "We are humanity. We hid our true nature not out of fear, but out of mercy. Remember this day. Remember what happened when you tried to conquer a species that had mastered the art of war before it reached the stars." The galaxy was about to learn a harsh lesson. Never underestimate a species that had turned hiding its true capabilities into an art form. The Galactic Council chamber, normally a place of rigid protocol and ancient traditions, was in chaos. Representatives from 1,000 species argued as recordings of the Earth-Dominion confrontation played on massive quantum displays. The mighty Dominion fleet's humiliation had shattered the established order of the galaxy. In the center of the chamber, Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood calmly, her presence a stark contrast to the pandemonium around her. This was humanity's first official appearance before the Galactic Council, and they had chosen their moment perfectly. The human deception was unprecedented. The Dominion's chief counselor raged. They deliberately misrepresented their technological capabilities. "Did we?" Rodriguez's voice cut through the chaos. "Or did you simply see what you expected to see? At no point did we claim to be primitive. We simply allowed you to make assumptions." The chamber fell silent as she activated a holographic display. It showed Earth's true technological timeline, not the carefully curated version they had allowed the galaxy to see, but the real history of human advancement. "While you watched our chemical rockets and celebrated our small steps into space, we were building something else entirely," she explained. "Every primitive satellite launch contained quantum sensors. Every space station held hidden technologies. We turned our entire solar system into a fortress, right under your noses." The display shifted, showing the full extent of human preparation. The Jupiter array, capable of harnessing a gas giant's magnetic field as a weapon. The quantum net that could immobilize entire fleets. The Ghost Fleet, with its dark matter drives and weapons that defied conventional physics. "But why?" asked the representative from the Arcturian Federation, one of the galaxy's older powers. "Why hide your true capabilities?" Rodriguez smiled. "Because we learned from history. Every time a technologically superior force encountered a primitive civilization on Earth, the results were devastating. So when we looked to the stars, we asked ourselves, what if we're not the most advanced species out there? What if we need to protect ourselves?" The display showed humanity's hidden research facilities, quantum laboratories beneath the oceans, dark matter refineries inside asteroids, AI development centers in the Earth's core, all concealed from prying eyes, all part of a plan decades in the making. "Your empire," she turned to the Dominion representatives, "has a pattern. You find developing civilizations, overwhelm them with superior technology, and force them to submit or face destruction. We studied this pattern. We prepared for it. And when you came to Earth, thinking you'd found another easy conquest." She let the sentence hang as the recording played again. The moment when humanity's hidden fleet emerged, when their quantum weapons activated, when the mighty Dominion Armada found itself helpless against technology it couldn't comprehend. "The balance of power has shifted," announced the Council Elder, that ancient voice carrying weight of centuries. "Humanity has proven itself to be far more than they appeared. The question before us now is, what role will Earth play in galactic affairs?" Rodriguez's response was measured but firm. We have no interest in conquest or domination, but we will no longer hide our true nature. Earth is offering a new doctrine to the galaxy: mutual respect and peaceful coexistence, or face the consequences. In the Himalayan Command Center, Admiral Chen and her team watched the Council proceedings through quantum feeds. "They're beginning to understand," Dr. Potel observed. "Not just our technology, but our philosophy." "The art of war is not just about fighting," Chen quoted. "It's about achieving victory without fighting when possible. We showed them enough to make our point, but not everything." Indeed, humanity's greatest weapons remained hidden. The quantum technology demonstrated against the Dominion was just the surface. Deep beneath the Earth's crust, in secret facilities few humans even knew about, research continued. The next generation of defensive systems was already under development. Back in the Council chamber, Rodriguez was presenting Earth's terms for joining the galactic community. They were surprisingly modest: recognition of Earth's sovereignty, respect for their space, and most importantly, a new doctrine protecting developing civilizations. "We will not stand idle while powerful empires prey on emerging species," she declared. "Every civilization deserves a chance to develop at its own pace, make its own choices, forge its own path among the stars." The Council chambers erupted in discussion again, but this time the tone was different. The galaxy's power structure was realigning before their eyes. The Dominion's reputation for invincibility was shattered, and in its place, a new power had emerged, one that had mastered the art of hiding in plain sight. "There's an old Earth saying," Rodriguez concluded, "the most dangerous predator is the one you don't see coming. Remember that before you test our resolve. We chose to reveal ourselves today, but make no mistake, humanity still has secrets. Pray you never have to learn what they are." As the Council session ended, messages raced across the galaxy through quantum channels. The news spread like wildfire. Earth, the seemingly primitive world at the edge of known space, had orchestrated the most elaborate strategic deception in galactic history. In the command center, Chen received the final reports. The Dominion fleet had retreated beyond the quantum net's range. Their empire was already showing signs of fracturing as subjugated worlds began to question their overlord's power. "A new era begins," she said quietly. "Not just for Earth, but for the galaxy." "And we'll be ready for whatever comes next," Patil added, looking at the displays showing humanity's hidden projects. "After all, what we revealed today was just the beginning." The galaxy would never be the same. The species that had mastered deception, that had turned hiding its true nature into an art form, was finally showing its teeth, and the stars trembled at what they saw. Earth had emerged not just as a military power, but as something far more significant, a civilization that had learned from history's mistakes and was determined not to repeat them. The age of empire and conquest was ending. The age of humanity had begun.